Morning. There's been an incident of late when a couple of people have left an organisation I know that's benefited literally hundreds and maybe even thousands of businesses around the UK, and they've gone and set up on their own. And I'm sure many of you know who I'm talking about. Now, everybody has their right to pursue their own kind of nirvana, but there are ways and means of doing it. And it reminds me of a story of when 15 years ago I remortgaged my home and set up a third depot in Kingston, and over 3 months the salesperson and the team that I funded to set up the depot, and they established 300k's worth of turnover, and then one weekend they did a moonlight flit and took 100% of that depot, its clients, the whole shebang, and all three of them went off and started their own company, literally leaving me with an empty office, alone on my house and no depot. To say I was gutted is somewhat of an understatement. Put it this way, I was quite close to the chap and his family at the time. In fact, only a week beforehand, I'd even babysat his daughter. He was due to receive a shareholding of the company, and that was a fundamental part of where we were going, but he wanted his own business, and that's what he did. Took all my funding and all my resources and my goodwill and my trust and completely did me over. It was a really, really tough time, and a time that made me seriously question what I was doing and how I was doing it. And I'll be really honest, I don't think I've trusted anyone in the same way since, but needless to say, over the years, the three of them have fallen out. But to this day, one, Scott White, still runs a courier company that he set up on my client base. Neil O'Brien of Ascentus Accountants has written a great article on the golden handcuffs to safeguard your business, and I've copied a link below. But in reality, when you're a company with limited funds, as we were by then, the cost of actually pursuing them for their breach of restrictive covenants was going to be a lot of time, a lot of money, and consuming myself and my head, and probably not successful. Oh, and did I mention that they'd actually removed their contracts from the employee files as well? So this was something, really premeditated. So the best thing for me to do was to pick myself up and dust myself off and get stuck back in again. A period of real reflection followed this. Had I not given enough? Had I been too trusting? Had I not really read the character of the man? Was it me? And there was possibly yes to all of that. But in the end, the moral of this story is, in business, shits happen. And all you can do is to understand that as much as you safeguard your business against such events, as morally upright as you can be, and as generous and supportive of your team you are, one day someone will bite the hand that has fed it. And that's business. Obviously, check out your restrictive covenants. Make sure you have a contract that highlights the ramifications of acting against company interests, and guard those contracts with Rottweilers, I guess. But more importantly, understand that in a lifetime of business, some people just won't play fair. Greed is a very powerful motivator, and regardless of how well you treat your team, sometimes it won't be enough. It is them, not you, and you just can't budget for that. So a salutary tale for all of us this week. With a bigger team comes risk. With risk comes exposure. The most important thing you can do is not expose yourself to that risk too much with reliance on one or two team members, and not abdicate management, but delegate carefully, keeping checks and balances in place to make sure you're as safeguarded as you can be. But understand that the powerful motivator of greed can overwhelm even the people you thought you trusted the most. Tough, but really true, I'm afraid. Buckle up and prepare. You never know when it's coming. I hope it never happens to you, but in all probability, one way or another it will. Rest assured you will survive it, as many of us have, and gone on to build greater and bigger businesses. So, salutary tale. Have a great week. Bye for now.